everybody. Hope you're all okay. So I'm really excited for you to all view my next interview. This lovely young lady has been very busy over the past couple of years, creating some fantastic material for her short films. Lots to talk about. Please enjoy my interview with Ashleigh Harley.
I'm so excited to just have the opportunity, so thank you so much.
No worries at all. Thank you for saying yes. That's what I say to people. I appreciate that. People always say the worst thing is somebody saying no, and I'm like, no, the worst thing is people not getting back to you, because you're like, did you get it?
Yes, that's so true. I always think when you get a no, that's always like a maybe.
Yes.
That actually means that you can come back again and wiggle a yes out of them eventually. When they don't do it, that's the worst. When the silent treatment is that's the real no.
You're like, did you get it? Did you not get it? Did you hate the idea? Did you just think go away? Did it go to your junk? Did it not reach you? I don't know what happened. Do I keep bugging you, or will that really, really annoy you? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, it's exactly like that, isn't it? But when you get a firm no, I always believe that, like, well, actually that's a maybe later.
Maybe really bored, or I don't have any work, or maybe if I think it's a good idea in a few months time. I know exactly what you mean. Yes.
Yeah, it's always a yes. Everything's always a yes.
Yeah, unless you just really get back to me, and then it's So my first question for you really is, growing up, did you always have a love for creating and creativity?
Absolutely. Growing up, I think creativity was sort of the linchpin that kept me going through my illness. If I hadn't have had filmmaking and writing and music at the core of my life, I think to be honest, I just don't know how it would have gotten me through those years, because when I got sick when I was 12, I was living a very normal life. And it just became every day became so impossible that I had to kind of find something to make a bit of hope in my life, and that's what films and creativity did for me. Was it gave me some hope, and yeah, it changed my whole life, really.
Amazing. The thing is, when something happens that you don't ever expect or plan on happening, you have to kind of react in the now and think, okay, well, what can I control now? And like film and TV, music, it's such an important part of so many people's lives in so many different ways, and you can interpret things, it's very personal to you, isn't it?
It really, really is. And I think that's kind of the key, isn't it, really, when we approach making films, because so many people we're always running around, and we're trying to be something, because we're always looking out into the world and thinking, I want to do this, I want to be like this person, I want success or fame, or there's all these things that objectives that people sort of assign to themselves and their life. But ultimately I think it comes down to what is in your heart, and what do you really want, and what's that burning desire, that message that's inside yourself that you need to say. And that ultimately I think is at the core of what will make you happy. And I think if you then chase that, that's really the key to finding some solace in all of our lives.
Yeah, that's a great answer. It's a very brilliant way to look at your life and the world, isn't it? Sometimes stop looking at what it is that people can do for you, and think about what you do for you. Where do you begin when writing a film?
Gosh, where do I begin? That is such a tough question. I think, oh my gosh, every time I've started writing a film, I haven't planned starting writing that film. It's always sort of happened organically as a result of something that's happened in my life, and it's usually been to do with my illness. Yeah. So my first project, if you like, was a book called The Messenger, which later turned into my first film, The War of Lion. And that started with, because I was being episodically paralyzed in a hospital bed, and it was my only way to kind of escape and make a more positive outlook on the world. And once again, with this film that I'm working on at the moment, The Dark Horse, is I had spent so many years covering up my illness, and it was becoming unbelievably exhausting trying to pretend to be something that I wasn't. I had to make a video to just trying to explain to people and show to people what had been happening in my life. Because what happened to me was, when I got very ill, at school I was very badly bullied for it, and it kind of resolved this idea into my head that, like, I don't know how to explain it. It made me very afraid of showing my illness. So what I then the way The Dark Horse started was just sort of me kind of facing up to that fear and owning it, I guess. I saw the films I've made have always come about as some sort of like personal necessity of needing to say something, and I think that, like, for other people, that is kind of the key to getting a satisfying film, or, you know, book, song, whatever it is that you're wanting to make or do, is to sort of look at your deepest pain or fear and make something out of that, because that ultimately has a huge potential inside of those fears and pains. There's a lot of potential in it, and you can turn it into something really positive.
Yeah. Do you know what I think as well? What you're saying there will resonate with so many people. I think there are a lot of people that become unwell, or get into a situation that they're finding difficult to either understand, comprehend, or express, or just accept. And
accepting it, I think, is a lot. I mean, so often we try to put our best versions of ourselves out into the world, and when you're told that your best is not enough, I think it can become really challenging and quite painful. And but this is like something that I really believe, is that if you got some sort of like terrible pain in your life, or a challenge, that is a sign of something that's really great in your life equally. So if you've got something huge that looks like this big adversity, like this big mountain you have to climb, it's because it's a sign of like an amazing reward at the end of it, or like some amazing potential that lies inside of you. Because, you know, everything in the world is a balance. So if you've got something really bad, there must be something really good on the other side, surely. I started to think that maybe we can actually make great things happen in our lives because of the challenges, not in spite of, but because of these things, these challenges, this pain, this adversity we've been through. We can do great things with our lives because of them, not in spite of. I've spoken about this a few times, but and it's a really like wide out there analogy. But if you look at like you know, the universe on a subatomic scale, like you look at the smallest thing is like an atom, and for an atom to be able to exist, it has to have a positive proton and negative charged electrons on the outside. And the only way an atom can really come into existence is for it to have an equal amount on either side. So it really kind of shows that we live in this balanced world where everything good that happens is because of the bad.
Yeah, I think that's so true, because sometimes you wouldn't ordinarily fight so hard for something that you believe in and that you dream of, if you didn't have that. So yeah, that is very, very true, isn't it? You know,
it does. It gives you a reason, and ultimately will make it all the more satisfying too.
And also, everybody loves a purpose, don't they?
Oh yeah. I mean, why would we do anything if we didn't have a purpose?
Absolutely. So what would you say, when creating a short film, is the most challenging element for you?
Oh wow, the most challenging element. Self-doubt, I would say. There's obviously huge, the normal things of um like like the getting the funding and all the normal things of like paperwork and the normal organizational stuff. But I think it's self-doubt that is our like my biggest enemy for sure, over my illness even. um Simply because it's always that voice like in the back of your head that says that's not good enough or you can't do this, and it slowly ekes into like everything you do, and then each like belief that you have, and you've got to push it aside and say no, like you can still do what you want to do and overcome your situation. And if there's anybody else that living out there with self-doubt, is to just push it aside, because that is entirely an internal experience. Other people don't see you and the world, you in the world that way. Yeah.
Amazing. So you said that you were working on a new short film called Dark Horse before lockdown. Tell us, where did the storyline and the ideas come from for that?
Okay, so the Dark Horse, that began with me becoming ill, and deciding that I wasn't going to hide it anymore. And when I made that decision, I decided I was going to live my life, to the max, to the full, enjoy all the wonderful, beautiful things that life gives us. And I decided I was no longer going to deny myself my passion for horse riding. So I got back on a horse, and the most incredible journey just unfolded in front of my eyes. Now we're working with an Oscar-winning team. I've ridden Calico Bay, who won the King George Grand Prix in the film. We've spoken with the Paralympics of the film, to try and make show jumping a Paralympic sport. It has just been the wildest, most craziest, most like life-changing journey I could never have dreamt up in a million years. And it all came from tackling fear. And yeah, it's as simple as that, really. And we're hoping, fingers crossed, that we're going to have it ready for the start of next year, because we're obviously lockdown pushed us back a little bit, but we're now going back out filming again to get the last bits done, and we're going to be out there ready to help change people's perspectives a little bit, and empower and inspire people a little bit to follow their dreams and live their best life.
Amazing. Absolutely incredible. So do you direct it? Are you starring in it? What is or all of it, everything?
Everything. So I'm directing it, and I'm also starring in it. And we obviously have a lot of people starring in it, because the goal of the film is to try and make a better future for young people, so children, teens, and young adults too, living with chronic and terminal illnesses, to sort of know that there is a future out there, or any kind of challenge anybody's living with, you do have a future, and you can take the most and make the most of your life right here, right now. Those are the big goals behind the film. So yeah, I'm directing it, I'm starring in it. It's being co-produced with Slick Films, who won the Oscar in 2018. And yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. And we just it has changed my life, this film. And my sincere wish is that I can help change some other people's lives who need it too with it, because it's I really believe it's got a message that can help people.
Yeah. Do you know what you're saying is amazing, and I feel so excited for you and what you've achieved. But do you know what? I feel even more excited for the people that are going to watch it, because as someone myself, I've grown up with coming to terms with something that somebody said to you that changes your whole outlook on life. And you know, as a young person who really struggled with pain and a lot of issues that came with that, and not having a diagnosis for such a long time, and then being, you know, 20 and saying, oh, this is what you have, and this is what you have to live with, you know, and kind of crack on with that, basically. You know, I didn't have anybody that I felt like I could be inspired by is the wrong term, but you know, somebody who had been through it and was saying to you, this, you can get out the other side, this is a thing, you know, just because you've been dealt this hand doesn't mean now everything that you ever wanted can't come true. And you're doing that, you're saying that to people. You know, I needed you when I was like 8.
Oh, it just, like, you just warm my heart so much, because, you know, that is, like, I'm doing it because, like, every reason you just said, because it's exactly what I went through too. And I'm doing it because, you know, like us, what we went through. And I'm absolutely certain there are other kids out there who've gone through just what we went through. And, you know, they need someone to tell them that they have a future, no matter the pain they're in. And also you too, Jen, you've got like a really, really great, exciting future, no matter the pain that you've been in.
And I think that's the thing. I think, you know, people don't see illness, you know, and unless it's obvious, people don't see it. And if it's not visible to most people, it doesn't exist. And I think that is a huge thing that I've struggled with so much, you know, unless I was on crutches or in a brace, or, you know, I'd been in plaster, like, people didn't get it, you know, they just,
Yeah.
they didn't understand, and they didn't care to understand either. They didn't want to take the time to understand you and get where you were coming from. And I think, you know, having somebody who says to you, yes, this is what it's like, and yes, it can be absolutely brutal, but look at what I can achieve, and if I can achieve it, you can achieve it too. And I think it's like one big hug, isn't it? You know, you're all hands together. You've got to hold hands together, and you've got to help one another through it. And when somebody steps forward and says, okay, you know, this is what I've always wanted to do, or maybe not wanted to do, but this is what, you know, is my driving force now, and look at what we can do together. And I think that's amazing. I really, really do commend you on that.
Oh, wow, Jen, that just, like, those are such beautiful words. So I'm really, really stunned. Always, always stay true to yourself. Never, ever give in, because it's what's true that's inside of you that will bring you happiness and create the life that you want. Never deny the truth of who you are, ever, because that is just, that's not a life. It's just taking it from someone who did it. It was miserable. So just don't do it. Just be you, because, you know, you're great and you're perfect just the way you are. And if someone can't accept it, then it's their problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've done a couple of short films. Your first one, you had so much recognition for it. How does it feel when you're recognised for your work?
Oh, wow. That's, you know, that's a thing I have actually never thought about before. How does it feel? You see, I think with that film, the Wall of Lion, it was like a relief for that film, and I can't quite explain why it was like a relief, but it was a relief. Maybe perhaps because you're putting the most vulnerable parts of yourself out there into the world.
Yeah.
And then if people look at it and say, oh, well, that's okay, and that it's not terrible, then you're sort of relieved that you're like, okay, it is okay. It is okay to be who I am. And then you feel relieved. But that is the feeling that I experienced, was relief.
When you work so hard on something, you know, you want it to be really well received, don't you? And then once it's, you know, you go through all these emotions when you're doing it, and then when it gets to the end, you do feel, yeah, like you can exhale a bit and go, okay, well, that's done now, that's good. And then you go, oh god, but now people have got to see it.
Yeah, actually, you know, the two other emotions I felt was surprise, and then the other one was fear when and anybody would ask me to come and like do like a little speech thing like on a stage. Oh my gosh, it was terrifying. I'm definitely not. Well, I mean, I've had to do a bit of public speaking before, but always just heart rate goes through the roof. So yeah, fear, relief and surprise.
Have you had lots of really good comments about the stuff that you've done?
We've had some really, really lovely things that people have said, both about that original film, The Wall of Lion, and more so with this new documentary, The Dark Horse. The support around it has been completely life-changing. I feel like I'm in the most fortunate and lucky position ever to just get to share what I'm doing with people. So yeah, it's been really great.
Fantastic. You said earlier about your horses, your love for horses and animals. Are there other animals that you love?
Oh, dogs. Everybody loves dogs, don't they? Definitely a dog person, and we're hoping to get a dog again soon. I mean, to be honest, I love all animals. I'm a really, like, I'm just an animal lover. I love all animals. You just give me any type of animal and I go like gaga over them. But yeah, horses and dogs are probably my number one.
You said about horse riding. I'm guessing you've done it from a really young age, right?
Yeah, I started when I was still at primary school. Was only able to do it sort of able-bodied for a few years before I got really ill. Sort of kept it going a little bit. Then I became so ill that I was just more or less in hospital all the time that it just became impossible. But now we found a way where I think maybe it's just my determination. It's just I'm not stopping it anymore. So yeah, I'm back riding again now. I recently had this recent lung function drop, which, you know, in the midst of it made it very difficult. But I'm gradually, you know, building myself back up to being able to ride again. And it's been a challenge and certainly a journey. But it felt so good to just be on the back of a horse again. Just, you know, feel the wind on your face and just you know, like the smell and like the really like textures of like the leather like in your hands and their fur, and just felt so good to be alive again.
Yeah, amazing. There's something about it that have just very a calming influence, right?
Oh yeah, they really do. Any day when you're having a bad day or anything like that, they will just lift you up when you're feeling down. The thing that I found really since my illness, it started to impact my life, because I was born with it, but like it sort of took until I was 12 years old for it to properly manifest, was on days where like I'm really struggling, whether the blindness or like paralysis in my legs or anything, they just step into that place you really need them to. They're just the most wonderful creatures, and because they're so sensitive, you can have a bond with them like you can't really have with any other animal, or sometimes even people, because it's so silent, and you can say so much with no words. And they're just such beautiful animals. I would say if I had a spirit animal, it would definitely be a horse.
Yeah, they are. You kind of like, you can become in tune with each other, can't you?
Yeah, you can. Because I had a horse before I got very ill, and her name was Misty, and she was definitely a horse where, you know, we were just so in tune with each other. Every single day, like I would open my curtains in my window, and she'd whinny to me, and it was just the best experience. We could just communicate with each other. Like I would just sort of, like I could just like move my shoulder a little bit and she would move, and like it was amazing how much you could say without saying anything. It was almost like you could think in the same pattern. It's remarkable when you get that level of bond with an animal.
Absolutely. And do you think what do you think has kept you busy during lockdown?
Oh wow. So in lockdown, when I got really ill, couldn't breathe at all, I thought, I know, let's write a song. let's do some singing. You know, I can't breathe at all, so let's sing. But I'm really glad I did, because I think it saved my life. Because if I hadn't have kept like trying, I don't think my body would have kept trying to heal or fight it, or you know, any of those things. So what happened for me in lockdown was I wrote a song which you know, in total I think we reached about 300,000 people with it.
Wow.
And then we did a virtual concert, and we had people from all over the world come together, and we sung it. There were, you know, every language, country. It was just so beautiful that we all just came together to just sing this one song, which was all about, you know, being separated by our pain, but ultimately it connecting us. And it was sort of around that whole theme, and it was life changing to see just how like generous the human spirit is, and how kind people are when like the chips are really down, when you really need someone. And yeah, it changed my whole life being able to sing that song. And so I've been working on a lot of music, and finishing up on the film, which is, you know, almost done now. So yeah, music has just like appeared big time in lockdown for me.
Yeah, that is incredible. And did you ever like sing beforehand, or was it just listening to music that you enjoyed?
I used to. I've always sort of been into writing music for my films, like for film score. And I sung like a little bit. I've always had problems with my breathing, so I never really got into it. But it took it to get this bad for me to start singing. I don't know why. It was rather like when my legs became very bad, and I was struggling to walk more and more, and, you know, ended up in a wheelchair, that I decided to start horse riding again. So I think I maybe just realized something about myself, that when like one thing goes really bad, I'm like, yes, let's try and make it, like, let's try and put myself in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, do you know what though? I think you're right. Sometimes it takes something to really like flip a switch and go, okay, even if to everybody else it sounds the most bizarre thing ever, like you say, you know, I can't breathe, but I'm gonna sing. Like, you know, anybody who, like, you don't have to be, you know, any kind of vocal coach or a vocal expert to know that you need to be able to breathe to sing.
Yeah, you really do. And it does sound crazy when you say it, doesn't it? Like, I can't breathe, but I'm gonna try and, you know, write a song and sing a song. But you know, the thing I think it taught me is that, like, if you've got like a huge challenge, don't let it be in the way of you. Kind of like let it shape you in some way. And it actually, in a way, the challenge itself might actually help you overcome the challenge. Yeah, just take it like that, because I don't think I would have ever really gotten into it if that hadn't happened a few months ago.
Amazing. So now you're going to continue to sing.
Yes. We've actually started working on the EP for the to go with the Dark Horse. So we've got 3 songs so far. It was Worlds Apart, I Believe, and It's Differently Abled. And then we're still going to do a 4th song too. Yeah. So that's just sprung out of nowhere.
Amazing. And do you reckon you'd sing on any of them?
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely. We do it singing on Worlds Apart, and I Believe, definitely. But yeah, definitely. I found like a new passion for singing. I don't know where that's come from, but
amazing. Well, if you ever need a duet partner, I will sing with you.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to do some little like split screen Skype Zoom singing duets whilst we're still in like, you know, social distancing.
Absolutely, we should definitely. And if you ever need a choir for anything, I mean, I'm totally biased, of course, but my kids are very good.
Wow, I mean, I will probably actually need a choir for I Believe. We actually do need a choir. So we could do something there.
Definitely. It's so funny. Like, I've seen quite a few of the kids via you know, online tutorials and stuff, but I haven't seen most of them since March, before we were supposed to do a big show, and won't see them hopefully until in September, but possibly not. And on these interviews, I'm like volunteering them for all these things, and they must think, great, Jen, thank you haven't told us about all this stuff, but you're volunteering our services.
Wonderful. Hey, they're so lucky to have such a great advocate. I wish I'd had that when I was little.
I'm terrible. Do you know what? A couple of people I've had conversations with them, and they're like, "Oh, this is amazing what you're doing. Thanks for chatting with me, and like, you know, thanks for badgering me." And I'm like, "It's okay. Thanks for saying yes," because I'm terrible. Honestly, actually, I will badger and badger because I'm like, I know you want to do this. You do. You want to talk to me. I promise.
That is so amazing, because that is the key, isn't it? Whatever you like you want, just don't give up. Like, you're gonna get a lot of no's, but it's that one yes, and what you've got to do is just gotta keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because it's like kind of like hammering down a door. It's gonna break at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I say to the kids, like, you know, go for it. You've got to, and if somebody ever says anything to you, offers you an opportunity or, you know, an experience, like, even if it's scary, say yes, and then figure out how you're going to do it later.
Absolutely, that is so true. That is, yeah, back up that.
That is my thing. That is what I say.
Yeah, that is, I really, really believe that. That is the core, I think, to any kind of success, really, isn't it?
I think so. So we're going to finish up with my last question, which you've kind of already answered. But, you know, once we can kind of get back out of lockdown in the next couple of weeks, months, whatever it takes to be able to do stuff, what are you going to be doing? What are you going to be focusing on?
Okay, so when we come out of lockdown, we are going to be finishing up filming The Dark Horse. We've already got our first few filming dates sorted, and then we're going to be editing it, and then it will be available for the whole world to see. Ooh, it's a bit nerve-wracking, but very exciting. I can't wait, because this film has just changed my life. I really hope it can help and change so many more. And then also the music and the album too, that's going to go out there. So yeah, and if anybody watching this wants to see it, you'll be able to find it on my social media. So go find me on social media, because that's where I'll be able to, you know, link you all to it. We don't know where we'll be distributing it yet, but it's going to be at film festivals too. Hopefully we'll have some level of normality back for those film festivals, so we can actually go into a cinema again, because that'd be great. So yeah, that's where we're going to be going after lockdown.
How exciting. I'm so excited for you, and I want to see it. I can't wait to see it. It sounds amazing, and the way in which that you've combined, you know, everything, your passion, your illness, diversity, everything, the way that determination, you've kind of combined it all is amazing, and I really wish you the best of luck and hope that you can get back to it ASAP.
Oh, thank you so much, Jen. That's so nice of you. And you too, because, you know, those dreams you've got, chase them down and you will make them happen.
Yeah, thank you. That's what we need. We need to share. My little channel's called Share a Smile, and I kind of think like we've done that today. I feel like we have done that.
Yeah, we have smashed that goal, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to chat with me today. I've had a fantastic time.
So have I, Jen. It's been really, really fun.
Amazing. Well, you take care of yourself, and I will speak to you soon.
You too, Jen. Have a great day.
Soon. Bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed that, and huge thank you to Ashleigh. Okay, lots more guests still to come. Stay tuned, guys. Best wishes to you all. Take care.